Sam Zell. Warren Buffett isn't buying anything yet. Are you?
No, I'm just watching what's going on, and not much is going on.
What do you see?
I don't know the answer yet, Eric. All I know is that despite the fact that we've been in lockdown for 6 or 7 weeks, there's very little activity, very little transactional activity, very little opportunity to do anything. I think everybody is in kind of a, deer in the headlights kind of stature at the moment. And at least, so far, just sitting here watching and we're not seeing anything happening.
Sam, why do you think that is? Is it because prices aren't low enough yet?
Oh, I think that rather than referring to it as prices aren't low enough, I think that there's been very little opportunity at price discovery. My guess is that those sellers that wanted to sell still remember the prices that were available 7 or 8 weeks ago. The buyers are looking at a very different world and expecting to see significant discounts from where we were 7 weeks ago. And when you got that big a spread, nothing happens. And I think that's an accurate description.
What about you? What do you need to see before you feel motivated, inclined, even excited about putting capital to work?
Well, I think we're all faced with an extraordinary level of uncertainty. Uncertainty on how the reopening will go, uncertain as to when the reopening will happen, uncertain about how people will respond. How soon will anybody get on an airplane? How soon will anybody stay at a hotel? How soon will anybody go to a mall? The fact that these places may be open doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be doing business. And so I think with that level of uncertainty, rather than people taking action, I think everybody is sitting on the sidelines waiting for more clarification.
Sam, what do you think is the greatest misconception many people are under right now as they look into this uncertain future?
I think that too many people are anticipating a kind of V-like recovery. We've been through this terrible period. The period's going to end. The virus numbers are going to go down, and the world is going to go back to normal. I think that all of us who have been living, in isolated form, one form or another. I haven't shaken hands with anybody in 8 weeks. I have no frame of reference for that, and it's never been the case before. We've seen our whole lives changed, and I think your ability or your likelihood of forgetting that is going to take a long time. Santayana, who was a famous Spanish philosopher, said, "He who fails to learn from history is condemned to repeat it." And I think we have a lot of history that we're going to be learning about and remembering, and it's going to affect how everything we do. And that's why, your opening question to me, I answered you by saying I think it's going to take quite a while, and that it's not going to be easy to, quote, return back to where we were.
Sam, my grandparents were permanently scarred by their experience in the Great Depression. You're old enough
You bet.
to have known a lot about that generation. Do you think this is going to be something like that?
Yep. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, it's really funny that you should say that, because the way I've described it to people is I've said, I grew up and I was in high school in the 50s. And even in the 50s, which was 20 years after the end of World War II or 25 years after the Depression, there were still parents of friends of mine who talked about the depression and talked about the impact on their family, and and permanently scarred is exactly the right word. And I think there's very little doubt that we're all going to be permanently scarred by having lived through this pandemic.